What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report, as well as my day job. The countdown is tomorrow between 11 and 1 o'clock. My Inventables will be here. So I'm doing the final bit of stuff in here, getting set up for my table. Now, a couple things I did. Originally, I had, when I built the cabinets, you can see I have actually plywood that ties the top of it all together. And then I had made one sheet of plywood in here for this top that would screw into it. But I decided, since this thing costs so much money and it is such a big piece and it's going to be moving around, I put another layer of plywood on here. So we're actually going to have 2 1/4 inches of plywood on the base. And you know, because I originally was going to be getting the 2x4 model, now I've got the 4x4 model, I ended up building the second cabinet that's right here. So what I have right now, let me grab my tape measure. I've forgotten what I have. My base here is like 40 some inches. My base is 44. You need 56 inches of space total, so there's actually a foot more than what this actually needs. Now, because I have built this workshop so that way I can have the planer down below, I need this to be cantilever, but to give it some extra stability and strength, I've ended up using these iron pieces. This is 3/16 inch thick, 2 inch by 1.5 inch steel. I've gotten the cabinets themselves all leveled up. I've actually gotten these caster feet that are 500 pounds per foot that are actually in the cabinet. So I've leveled it both ways so that way it's true. And then I've got these leveled and screwed into it. This will help because the birch plywood that I had underneath the first level was nice and flat. Problem is this other plywood that I've gotten, the Sanday plywood, kind of has a little bit of a cup and things into it. So I want to make sure that this top is as level as possible. That's another one of the reasons of having the steel here. Once I go ahead and take the screws from underneath of here, that's going to lock that sucker down flat. And to give myself some extra support here, I did a couple of things. I'm going to be tying this all together so there's strength in numbers and size. What I've done is, on my table saw, I don't know if you can see it or not, I've actually got a solid piece of plywood that's actually supporting it. This is an old Craftsman contractor saw, and it's basically sheet metal legs. It has a little bit of play in it, but what I've done is I've used those caster feet and things, gotten the table saw dead on level, have this extra piece of plywood that's cross tied in there to just give it a little more rigidity. It's tighter than it's been, and think about this. I've had that table saw now for about 31 years. It's still doing really, really good. So if you get good tools, they'll last you. But what'll happen is this plywood is a little oversized, so it'll actually go underneath of the shelf for the table saw. And once I get it all level, I'll actually put a block in between it, and I'll be able to screw and bolt that together. So that will lock the table saw with this and help with my cantilever here to make sure that it's sturdy all the way across. So let's see if this fits, and then I'll go through and I'll take some solid oak and I'll edge it on around so that way I'll have a nice finish on it. Let's see if it all fits on here, because I've changed this thing so many times that I really want this to work just right. So, let's see. All right. Looks like it's a perfect fit. I literally only have 1/4 inch of space left over here for the mounts. So now I can come up underneath of this. These pieces of steel are actually hidden, and that's good because you don't want to see them. Now you can see, I'm going to probably wait until I get my Inventables here tomorrow before I tie it together fully to make sure that I have enough space. This has been tough getting this together because I do have such a small workspace. Now you can see how the table saw over here has that little bit of space in between, and that's where I'll be able to go ahead and tie these together just to give this all a great bit of stability. The nice thing here too is basically we're trying to use every bit of space. We still have enough space that we can pull out the boards when we plane it. And I also too, to help try and keep the shop a little cleaner, I actually have this roll of rosin paper that I can use when I'm gluing up stuff so I don't get glue on my countertop. So this is it. This is my baby. And it's just about ready for the Inventables to come here tomorrow. Now let me double check something here before I screw this down. The Inventables is they tell you in millimeters. I'm not good with millimeters. But it's basically 3.9 inches tall, but it has adjustable feet on it. So this is right at 4.16. So I've got space where I can adjust that. And let's check and see. Although, I don't know if you can see, yeah, the cup. You see how it's, this is the reason for putting the wood into it. You can see how that's rocking like a rocking horse. But once I put the screws in there, that'll help pull that completely flat. So this is it. And there's enough space for me to walk around. Yeah. The only other thing I'm going to need to do is technically what they say in Inventables is you actually want to have a 6 by 6 foot table. The footprint of the X-Carve is actually 55 3/4 by 57, somewhere around in there. But they say you want to have about a 6 foot by 6 foot table because you've got basically the computer and the on and off switch would be the extra 6 inches. So what I'll do is I'll just basically make a little shelf that'll go right here besides the dust hose. The dust collector pipe. That won't be in the way. So that way it'll be able to sit on there. The interface can actually fit underneath of it, but you still have the control on and off switch. So that's what I'll probably do. Or might get creative and maybe I'll just kind of bring it up here, make a side piece for it. A side piece. Fellas, watch it. Watch it with the side piece because that'll get you in trouble. So I'm happy with what I have, and I'm sitting here. There's no movement on here, and this isn't even screwed down. So I think that this is going to be sturdy enough for that X-Carve when that thing starts moving around and cutting and all that, that this will be more than strong enough for it. Yeah, I love this. Oh my God, I love it. I just can't wait now. So tomorrow will be the big day. Appreciate you guys. So tomorrow, they say it takes about 2 hours to put it together, and that literally you can, from that point, start carving stuff out. What I may do is, I may set one of my Mevo cameras up in here and just record it, and then I can just take that recording and speed it up, time lapse it, so that way we see exactly what that's like. Yeah, this is going to be cool. I'm Mark Holmes, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys stopping by to watch Mark Holmes and the Joe Boo Sports Report, as well as my day job. And I'll see you soon. Well, here we have it. This is the tabletop for the Inventables to come on. They're supposed to be here, the freight FedEx is supposed to be here sometime between 11 and 1. I haven't screwed this down yet. It can still slide in a little bit. One thing I'm hesitant to do, the unit itself is 57 inches. And you can see where I have, right now I've got 58 and a half, which is good. I can slide this back in more. The only thing is with the table side, I'm limited in space and I'm trying to maximize as much as possible. I'm probably going to have to cut off the end of the fencing here, which is okay because I think I'll still be able to rip 24 inches even if I cut it off here. But I want to see how the unit itself is. The unit may have feet that are longer on the side, and the table maybe is shorter. So that's why I'm waiting to see that maybe I might get lucky because this is below the height of a sheet of plywood, that this might be able to go underneath of it. If it goes underneath of it, then I'm golden, and then I can actually be able to rip farther larger pieces. The other thing I'm going to have to do with this too as well is because they recommend a 6 foot by 6 foot table for it, and the reason being is you have the CPU and the interface that goes with it, which should be on the side. So I'm going to make a little tabletop to go right here beside the dust collection hoses here. That way it'll be here kind of protected and out of the way of the natural walkway. So that's the only thing that I need to do in here. Well, I guess the only thing I need to do is just wait for it to get here and start putting it together. They say it takes about 2 hours to put it together, and then you're just about ready to start cutting. We'll find out if that's the case. My son Mike is out doing deliveries right now, and so I'll have to wait for him to come back, because the good thing about this X-Carve Pro as opposed to the regular X-Carve is the head and all the belts, the screw drive and all it is assembled. So the big problem is you put together the base on this, get that all assembled, you get it square and true, and then you've got the big head that has to be rocked in place and bolted, and that's a couple 100 pounds, so that's where you need a couple people to do it. But I'm rather proud of this. The great thing on this is, by hook or by crook, this is actually 1.5 inches thick top of solid plywood, and that's on top of another 3/4 inch piece of plywood that's on the base. Even with this not screwed in, with the metal pieces that I put underneath it to help support it, this thing, it's tight because of the way I got it in there. I don't think that with the movement, because this thing is going to be constantly moving, that there's going to be any play. That and tying it in together to this whole unit, this becomes a real big work area. It'll be nice because I'll still be able to rip down full sheets of plywood in here. I'll still be able to use my joiner. Still can use the thickness planer in here to plane wood, and then of course have this machine here to be able to cut anything that we need to cut out, and of course still have space to make anything that we need to make and assemble it over there. So it's a tight fit in here, but we've got a lot of equipment that is still functional. So now we're just on the clock waiting. Oh my God. It's here. My X-Carve Pro. It's all in this one box right here. Wow. Gotta go ahead and open it up and get it inside, y'all. Oh my goodness. Finally, it's here. Holy shit. Can't wait.